A very good morning to everyone. I'm very glad to welcome you all for this national webinar titled Corporate Readiness, organized by Research Department of Business Administration, Sourashtra College. Today's world is full of corporates, starting from the products which we use daily in our home to the IT companies which we work. So corporates generate more jobs for youths and pay hefty amount as a salary for their employees. So every student's dream will be maybe to enter into a corporate during any part of their career at least. So getting into corporate needs certain skills which bigger corporates might expect to hire them for their companies. So today's topic is very much relevant to how to get ourselves equipped to get into a corporate sector. So now I request Dr. T.R. Jeevapriya Madam to deliver welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Research Department of Business Administration, I take this opportunity to welcome the management, Principal Sourashtra College, Professor N.S. Saravanan sir, Head Department of Business Administration, Dr. M.S. Balaji sir, Associate Professor, Dr. B. Anbalayan sir, the Chief Guest of the day, Dr. Jins George sir, who is an Assistant Professor of Shantagiri Institute of Management, staff members from other departments and from other colleges, and all the participants who are attending this webinar. Welcome all. So today's theme of this national webinar is corporate readiness, which means otherwise called as campus to corporate programs. As we all know, people who pass out this graduates have all the eligibility criterions on paper. But the companies expect more from them, more skills from them. So they expect communication skills, team spirits, and they expect people to understand what their job requires. Therefore, nowadays, the colleges, educational institutions, corporate companies are trying their best to fill this gap by imparting skill training, especially soft skills. Dr. Jins George sir has rightly selected this topic, which is the need of the day. And now he's going to give us more insight on this theme, corporate readiness. I once again welcome you all for this national webinar program on corporate readiness, delivered by Dr. Jins George sir. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
You don't have to be great, but you have to start to be a great. So I'm very much privileged and honored to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Jins George sir. So Dr. Jins George completed his PhD from Madurai Kamaraj University in the area of human resource management. He is an MBA holder with specializations in HR and marketing from DePaul Institute of Science and Technology, MSW from Bharatiyar University, and qualified NET, National Eligibility Test. So he has more than 10 years of experience in teaching and industry. So he is currently associated with Shantagiri Institute of Management as assistant professor. Prior to joining Shantagiri, Jins George has served many prestigious educational institutions as an academician. He delivers expert talk and trainings on diverse management topics to the students of different educational institutions. He is also an entrepreneur who started Altro Academic Learning, Training and Research Organization, which is catering different services to Indian education sector. He has taught courses like Business Law, Management Information System, Advanced Strategic Management, International Business, Human Resource Management, Management of Training and Development, Environment and Business, etc. So he has proven his expertise in research field with valuable publications in national and international journals. So he has presented papers in many research-related conferences in and across India. His area of interest is in research, teaching, and training. So with all these backgrounds, I would like to welcome or invite Dr. Jins George sir to deliver his insights to our students. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful introduction. First of all, let me thank the Research Department of Business Administration, Sourashtra College, for having me here, especially the principal of Sourashtra College, Professor N.H. Sharavanan sir, head of the department, Dr. M.S. Balaji sir, and Associate Professor, dear and respected and brilliant sir, Dr. Tia Jivapriya Madam, and the coordinator or the convener, KG Rajesh Babu sir, and all other faculty members, dear students, a very warm good morning to everyone. I will try to present the things in a precise, otherwise with a proper framework. Let me share the PPT. I hope I am properly audible. If you can confirm, I will continue with the talk. Can you please confirm whether I'm clearly audible or not?
So I'm not able to hear clearly.
Whether my voice is breaking?
Yes, not breaking, but volume is low. I am not able to hear clearly.
Okay. Just a moment. So now am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, thank you for the confirmation. Let me share the PPTs, okay? Once again, can you please confirm whether the PPTs are visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you very much for the confirmation. Right, as I mentioned, I will try to present the things in a precise, otherwise with a proper framework. Okay, here we have the discussion points, especially. Yeah, right, let me make it the full screen, right? Yeah, perfect, right. Discussion points, the first one, I will give you a brief introduction about what is this corporate readiness is all about. At the same time, the second point, why it is required exactly, why you need to be prepared. And the third point, what employers really look at. And the fourth one, strategies for getting ready. These 4 points will be the concentrated areas, and whenever you have doubts, you can ask me, you can interact with me. That's why I have included the title like discussion points. That itself means not a one-sided talk. You need to talk, you need to interact with me. That's it. Okay. The first thing, right? When someone is talking about the word corporate readiness, otherwise, when somebody is using the term corporate readiness, immediately there will be certain companies that comes into your mind, right? If I'm not wrong, 100%, if somebody is repeating the term corporate, 100%, there will be some companies in your mindset. And I strongly believe that some of these logos might be there in your mind, right? Some of the Indian players like Reliance, Tata, the Vice, Aditya Birla Group, everybody, right? Some logos are presented there. Easily you can identify, right? Then some international players, right? Not just international players, one of the leading, otherwise some of the leading corporates and their logos. That is word given at the bottom half, right? I hope you guys can see that. The players like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, all those logos are familiar to you guys, right? Isn't it? Anyway, I'm not finding any students with videos on, so I don't think it's convenient to individually talk to them. So I will just keep on continuing. Whenever you have any kind of doubts, you can just ask me, clarify that. Okay, that's it. So the first part, certain logos, certain companies, which represents the corporate world. Okay, and again, when we think further about it, when we think deeply about it, we will find certain persons and their faces immediately that comes into your mind, right? Certain faces, right? Some players, otherwise some international players, those who lead the corporate world, right? Those who lead the corporate world, otherwise the first half, you know, that first quarter part, which is mentioned there, the pictures mentioned there. Of course, you guys know that, right? What about these personalities? I hope you guys recognize these personalities, isn't it? Yeah, right. Let me just point out, we have the great entrepreneurs like Ratan Tata and Ambani, of course. At the same time, we have Mittal. Then some of the international players, again, we have Jeff Bezos, otherwise Steve Jobs. The last person, can somebody mention who is exactly that guy? That smart guy, good looking guy. Can you please mention the name of that guy?
Elon Musk.
Exactly. Mohammed Hasib, thank you very much for the response. And he is the CEO of which company?
Tesla.
Oh, perfect, perfect, right. And the player behind SpaceX also. Right, very good response. So these are some major players in the corporate world that easily you can connect with, okay? I have mentioned some of the companies, those who are like leading players in corporate world, at the same time, some players behind it, otherwise some personalities like founders or CEOs, those who decide what to happen, when to happen, and how that should take place, right? So these are some basic examples. Okay, we can connect these things, right? And here you have one simple picture, which can give you exactly what exactly happens there in corporate world. What is happening there? Otherwise, how that is functioning. Otherwise, how the corporate world looks like. Very simple example. This picture can talk a lot about it. A guy is standing there who is observing the market, who is communicating with others at the same time, preparing the reports, a lot of things that is happening in parallel, right? The corporate world, you can have certain interpretations based on this picture. Very simple one, right? Looks like a cartoon character, right? But there is something beyond that. You have to think deeply about it. What happens with the corporate world? A lot of things, as I mentioned. The communications takes place, reporting takes place. At the same time, market changes happens, market observations happens, a lot of things, right? Along with this, we need to have a basic understanding. What is this corporate is all about? Let me explain. In simple words, corporate means, you guys know that, the large scale companies, right? The large scale companies or the business corporations, that is what exactly the corporate, that term stands for, or that's what exactly the term explains. The large scale companies or the large scale corporations. Okay, that's it. Very simple explanation. And at the same time, what is the intention behind this program, corporate readiness program? What is the intention? What is the intention? Can somebody mention? Yes, I'm not wasting time. Let me explain that. Okay, very simple thing. The processes, the policies, the programs that is designed to set you ready to enter into the corporate world. That is what the purpose behind all the corporate readiness programs. Okay, that is what the very simple purpose. I have explained, I have given you some basic example for the players from corporate world. At the same time, what is this corporate is all about and what is the intention of our program, corporate readiness program. And let me add one more point with that. Everybody uses the term corporate world, right? Corporate world. What does it mean? or whether that's a word without meaning, or whether that is something imaginary. Can you please mention exactly what is this corporate world is all about? Students, somebody from your side, you can respond. Corporate world. Okay, very simple meaning. Yeah, right. Somebody is using a marker, I think, or trying to chat with. It's fine. Okay, fine. Corporate world, that includes the companies, at the same time the executives, the resources, those who are staying with, or those who are part of that companies, all together. That is how the corporate world is working. The companies, the resources, everything together, the policies, the regulations, the framework which they have all together. That's how the corporate world is functioning, or that's how the corporate world is framed exactly. Okay, and now we have clarity. Some of the major players we are familiar with. At the same time, what is corporate readiness program, the intention, and what is corporate world is all about. We have clarity, I hope. Let me move on. Okay, why exactly this corporate readiness is required? I have a very simple question for you guys. Why exactly this corporate readiness is required? From that company's names, otherwise from that personality's names, I had an intention when I was sharing. Very simple thing. Now you know that this is not a simple thing, right? By observing that personalities, otherwise by observing that companies, now you know that this is $1 million business, right? This is $1 billion business, not a simple thing, a big deal actually, right? And why exactly the readiness should be there, or why you need to be prepared? What is the reason behind? Okay, in corporate world, let me underline one particular thing. If they spend 1 rupee, they are targeting for 3 rupee in return. No doubt about it. Okay, the expert says that if they spend 1 rupee, they target for 3 rupee in return. No doubt about it. Okay, and what kind of, if they are making $1 billion businesses, if they are having $1 billion investment, what is your role in that? From student perspective, what is your role in that? Otherwise, why you need to be prepared? Anyway, they're handling the things, right? Why someone else is required? I have a doubt. If they are handling the things properly, if they are managing the business successfully, one, then what is the role for the future students, otherwise future professionals there? Let me explain. Okay, very simple thing. What is your investment? You just imagine regarding corporate world, what kind of investment you have already made. Whether you have made any kind of investment, you just imagine and respond. Whether you have made any kind of investment already. No response. Okay, nothing. Okay, fine. Perfect investment you have already made. What kind of investment that is? You just imagine like you are at the age of 17, 18, or probably maximum up to 22. I hope so. And between this 17 to 22, you are again continuing with this studies, right? You have already spent around 17, 18, or 19, or whatever be the number of years you have already invested to set you ready to enter into this corporate world. That is what your investment. I repeat, you have already invested 17, 18, or 19, or whatever be the number. You have already invested that much amount of your life to get ready to enter into the corporate world. That is what your investment for the corporate world. And I have a very simple doubt whether that investment is good enough to give you a right space in the corporate world. I repeat my question, very simple one. Whether that investment is good enough to have you, otherwise to give you a good opportunity in the corporate world. No doubt. That investment that you can utilize if you have some perfect shaping again. If you have some sharpening of your skills again, then you can make sure that your investment goes in the direct, otherwise right direction. If you have proper sharpening of your skills, you can make sure that your investment of that 18, 20, or 20 plus years in the field of education, that investment goes in the right direction. Okay. And the readiness, how does it works exactly? Can you just give me a figure? What about the number of arts and science colleges within the nation, otherwise in India, all over India? What would be the approximate number of arts and science colleges? Can you just give me a figure? A wild guess, that's fine.
15,000, sir. 15,000, I think so, sir.
15,000, perfect. If Google is not wrong, exactly that is what the figure, 15,000. Thank you very much for the response, Asif. Okay, 15,000 colleges are there. Maybe again to be verified, but again from Google, let's trust, right? Yeah, and the very next thing mentioned there, the number of universities, higher education institutions, everything year by year, especially over the last 1 year time period, otherwise over the last 5 years time period, it was rapidly increasing again. Okay, so the demand is again there. You should understand that we have 15,000 plus colleges. Again, the number is increasing like anything. And you just consider the state scenario. In Tamil Nadu, how many number of arts and science colleges are there? Can anybody please respond? In Tamil Nadu, what would be the approximate number of arts and science colleges where the students like you guys are studying? Otherwise, every year the students like you guys are getting certificates. Can you just respond? What would be the approximate number of colleges? I strongly believe that that is something beyond 500, right? That is something beyond 500. Okay, you just consider out of this 500, otherwise out of this 15,000 colleges, what would be the approximate number of colleges? What would be the approximate number of students, those who are getting certificates every year? That will be in lakhs, no doubt about it. Lakhs and lakhs of students are getting certificates. And I have one underlying question there. Very simple question. Whether these lakhs and lakhs of students are getting proper place in the corporate world, whether the entire 100% of students, those who are getting the certificates, whether they have a proper place in the corporate world, absolutely the response is no. Maybe 15 to 20% may be getting the right space in the corporate world. 15 to 20% will be getting the right space in the corporate world. And if you want to be part of that 20%, then you need to be prepared. That's what the necessity of a corporate readiness program. Okay, if you want to have a proper space, I repeat, I substantiate my statement. If you want to have a proper space in the corporate world, no doubt about it, you need to be prepared to reach that 20% which I have mentioned. Okay, and I have a very simple exercise for you guys. There is an option in Zoom where you can use the marker. Okay, I want you guys to have a very simple exercise. You just please identify panda which is hiding there. There is a panda, right? Can you please identify and mark it? A very simple exercise. Can you please do it? Perfect, perfect. Yeah, within microseconds, you guys managed to respond. Okay, thank you very much for the response. Okay, thank you very much for the response. And I have a very simple question. How did you manage to identify that panda? Very easily. After all, there are a lot of puppies, a lot of dogs. Among that, how did you manage to identify that panda? Can somebody please respond? The panda is unique, right? That panda is really unique one. That's how you manage to identify that. The same principle is there. The same principle is there. When the corporates, when they observe you guys, make sure that you are unique one. You are unique one. Even if you are among the lakhs and lakhs of guys, if you have the uniqueness, you can make sure that you are easily getting spotted by the corporates. You are easily getting spotted by the corporates. Very simple exercise. Okay, that's what the lesson which I want to tell you guys. Be unique with your skills, so you will be spotted easily by the corporate world. Let's move on. Yeah, right. I have a lot of marks on the screen. Let me remove it. Yeah, right. Perfect. What employers really look at, what they want from us. Okay, this is what the question, what these employers want from us. Otherwise, from the employees category, what exactly these corporates are looking for. Very simple one. We have few pictures given there. You just observe that. In 2000, what kind of phones we used to have, which was specifically designed for a very specific task, calling, messages. That's it, right? Very simple purposes. At the same time, you just observe the second picture given there. You can understand with multiple functionalities, right? With multiple features. And that's what exactly the difference, which is expected from employees by the corporates. That example can tell you. Previously, it was like specialization task. One employee was utilized for years and years. That person was allowed to continue with the similar task. But now what happens in corporate world, you need to be multiple talented. You need to be multi-talented guys. At the same time, you have to handle the customers. You may have to talk to the service providers or the sellers, the suppliers. You may have to talk to multiple persons. You may have to go for multiple skill sets. That is what the demand now the employers are looking for. You need to be equipped with two things. One is your skill and the second thing is your attitude. What do you mean by the skill sets? During the welcome speech, ma'am was talking about certain skill sets like communication, your body language, your personality, everything matters. Okay, skills, that means the communication, I repeat, your communication, the way you present yourself, your personality, your body language, everything matters. And what is the right attitude? The attitude towards your work, the sincerity towards your company, your organization, that is what the attitude. And the sincerity towards yourself, that also matters, right? That is what the right attitude stands for. The people with right set of skills and the people with right attitude, you will be chosen by the companies, no doubt about it. Okay, no doubt about it. If you have the proper skill sets, if you are good at communication, if you have good presentation skills, if you have a combo of all these things, you will be chosen by the companies, no doubt about it. At the same time, if you have the proper attitude, right attitude, you will be the player, you will decide. Okay, that is what the skill sets exactly the employers are looking for. And we have the very next point, skills for future workforce. What kind of skills exactly? I have mentioned that skill sets are required. What kind of skills these guys are looking for? Otherwise, the corporates are looking for. Very simple one, sense making. If you have observed clearly the corporate interviews, you might have seen that those guys, they speak sense. They speak sense, right? If you make sense, if you speak sensibly, 100% you have a space there. Otherwise, if you go for blah, 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 I don't know what is to be told. Otherwise, what is to be exactly mentioned? I don't know that. What is the point in spending time? What is the point in wasting time? That is what the attitude corporate has. So you make sure that you make sense. The second thing, novel and adaptive thinking. Novel and adaptive thinking in the sense, always be innovative. Always be innovative with your ideas. If your ideas, if your thinking, that is fresh one, that will be hired, that will be supported. That is what another skill set which is required. At the same time, computational thinking. Computational thinking, very simple one. You need to calculate the figures, right? Whatever be the thing, even if it's a piece of information, what is the monetary benefit out of it? You need to calculate that very quickly. Give a rapid response towards that. Calculate the figure. Tell them this is what the benefit out of this information. Like that, you have to make sure that you are really good in computational thinking. Then you need to have transdisciplinarity, means multi-talented guys, as I have mentioned previously. You be an expert in marketing, at the same time try to have the proper knowledge in finance, HR, everywhere. Transdisciplinarity. And social intelligence, another thing, very simple one. Be a socially quotient animal. Okay, not just an animal. I know that humans, that is part of animals, but I don't want to use that term again. Be always socially quotient being. Okay, always be socially quotient. When you are using the social networking sites in your personal life, in your societal life, everywhere, try to be conscious enough to say that person is really a respectful one. Always make sure that. Then we have new media literacy. I was one among the many, those who had a reluctance to change to all these online media. Okay, let me suggest my own example. So it would be really easy for you guys to understand. New media literacy. I was one among the many, those who had complete reluctance towards changing to this online platform. But I was forced. But when I started using it, I understood clearly. Yeah, yes, this one is completely peaceful. I can handle that. I can easily manage that. And that minimum knowledge is required. New media literacy is required. Then you have to be cognitive load management wise effective. Cognitive load management wise effective. For example, if your teachers are assigning you with a very simple assignment, otherwise a task, immediately you guys will come up with arguments like, we are loaded, right? We are loaded like anything. We have a lot of workload. We have to write the assignment. We have to complete the task, right? A lot of excuses. But in corporate world, there is no space for excuses. Let me tell you guys, no space for excuses. Always learn to manage the cognitive load, workload. Try to learn, try to understand how can you manage the stress, how can you manage the workload. That is another talent required. And cross-cultural competency. You may have to work in different nations, different teams, or in different with different group members from different nations. You may have to work proper. Always try to have that cross-cultural competency that will be really supportive for you to survive in corporate world. Okay, and I will give you a report from World Economic Forum. Guys, are you guys really there? Are you guys with me? Can somebody please confirm whether I am audible clearly,
Yes,
or
sir.
whether slides are visible, right? Somebody was trying to respond, right? Google.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah, right. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. This is a report not from my brain. This is a report which was published by World Economic Forum. Okay. World Economic Forum. You can just observe that top 10 skills in demand, which was there in demand during 2020. Okay. Top 10 skills. World Economic Forum report teach. Complex problem solving, that is one skill which is required. What do you mean by this complex problem solving? What is that there that much complex in corporate sector? Very simple. Money is involved, becomes complicated, right? Money is involved, and especially when it is billions and millions, it becomes more and more complicated. So always be a problem solver. In every situations, you may have to come across different issues, different constraints you have to manage and overcome. Okay, so always try to be a problem solver. Critical thinking is another basic quality expected. What do you mean by this critical thinking? There is a famous saying by Narayana Murthy, the founder of Infosys. There is a famous saying, trust in God, but always verify with data. Okay, that is what the key statement which I want to repeat regarding critical thinking. Trust in God and always make sure that you are verifying using data. Okay, you have to think to the maximum possible extent. You have to critically analyze the situation, then only take the decision. That's it. And be a good decision maker. That is another thing. And you just imagine, like the previously mentioned, you just try to recollect the faces which I have displayed. What are especially like Steve Jobs, otherwise Ratan Tata, or even Mukesh Ambani, all those guys, how they made histories. You just imagine how they came into such a level of glorified life, glorified corporate life, how they came into such a situation. Otherwise, how they evolved into that situation. What is the reason? Their decision-making skill. Their decision-making skill. Always be prudent decision maker. Okay. Another thing, service orientation. The basic rule that remains unchanged. What is the basic rule? Customer is the king. If you are good at serving them, you will be considered in corporate world. No doubt on that. Okay. Then be creative. You might have seen that even it's not only about corporate life. Okay, even in your education life, if you have something creative, some ideas, some novel ideas, some genuine ideas, you can be benefited out of. For example, you can have scholarships at the same time funding for your higher studies. Otherwise, There can be rewards from the companies. There are a lot of incidents like that. Okay, but I'm not getting into that. Always try to be creative. Then people management, otherwise team skills. Okay, team skills. If you're working in a team, if you are managing the team, always make sure that you are being with them, you are able to cope up with them, you are able to lead. Okay, and we have negotiation skills. Another one, cognitive flexibility is there. Negotiation, you know that, right? You may have to negotiate with your superiors, subordinates, customers, suppliers, everybody, right? In your life right now, I know that you have to negotiate only with two categories. One is with your family members, and the another one, if you have any kind of affairs, you may have to negotiate with them. That's it, right? Okay. Don't take it personally, very simple job. Okay, guys. Then cognitive flexibility, another thing expected. Cognitive flexibility. What do you mean by this cognitive flexibility? Always learn to think out of the box, as everybody mentions. As everybody tell you guys, you know that your teachers might have mentioned the same thing. Think out of the box. That is what the cognitive flexibility is all about. You have to come out of the box. You may have to come out of your comfort zones, and you have to identify the alternative solutions for that situation. That is what cognitive flexibility is all about. And emotional intelligence, coordination with others, that almost works like the team skills itself. But emotional intelligence, you know that that is something different, right? That is something different. Emotional intelligence, the people, those who are highly sensitive, you'll find it very difficult to survive in corporate work. And the people, those who are not at all sensitive, again, you guys also will find it difficult to survive. And what is the role expected? What is the moderate category expected? That is what the diplomacy. Okay, you may be emotional, you may be sensitive, but you have to make sure that you have a balanced approach towards the same. Okay, and based on emotional intelligence, you are not just supposed to react, always try to learn, respond. Not react, always respond. That is what the basic element of emotional intelligence that is required for everyone. Let's move on. I think too much of theories, right? Are you guys feeling really fed up with the same? No response. Okay. What we have mentioned, you just try to recollect the things one by one. At first, I have mentioned some of the companies, some of the good players, then I have mentioned, otherwise some founders, CEOs, all those categories. And I have given you a basic idea what is this corporate world is all about and why you need to be prepared and what exactly these employees are looking for. And that is what exactly we have discussed. Let's move on. I have a few more things to mention. Here we have something interesting. Okay, that may not be clearly readable for you guys, but I will give you a clear-cut picture. Okay, which are the states with maximum supply of employable talent? One major question. Which are the states with maximum supply of employable talent? And this is not from my side. Okay, this information that is being published by Source India Skill Report, which is being published every year. India Skill Report, that is what the source of this information. And what is mentioned here, which are the states with maximum supply of employable talent, in the sense, in very simple words, I will make it clear to you guys, which are the states with maximum supply of potential candidates, especially the year-wise calculations are given there, 2014, 15, 16, every year what happened. In 2019, it was the state like Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh. But in 2020, you have a scope there. You have a scope. Potential employees. One area with a lot of potential employees, otherwise job aspirants. That is one major information which I want to convey you guys. And another question is there. Which are the states with most number of recruitment activities? Which are the states with maximum number of recruitment activity? That is what mentioned here. I hope you guys can see the slide, right? Perfectly visible, right?
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, right. Very good, very good. You just observe the last quarter part of that slide mentioned here. I hope you can see the cursor over there. Tamil Nadu will have the highest hiring in 2020. Okay, Tamil Nadu had the highest hiring in 2020. based on the report. It was completely a superb year for the job aspirants, especially in the state of Tamil Nadu. You had the highest recruitment activities over the last 1 year time period. In 2020, you had the highest number of recruitments, highest number of selections. That's what matters. And one more is given here, which are the most attractive sectors, hirings, otherwise enough number of selections, recruitments, everything. That is what mentioned on the left bottom quarter. What is mentioned there? In 2020, it was the sectors like banking, financial services, insurance, BPOs, KPOs. KPO stands for knowledge processing outsourcing, and the IT companies, internet business, which was completely leading the recruitment areas, the job market. It was completely focused on that sectors which I have mentioned. And how can we conclude these three different informations? You have to understand that your state, the state of Tamil Nadu, they are one among the top employable, otherwise candidates with a lot of potential, which includes you guys, which includes in there. A lot of company selection processes are taking place there. You please try to identify, keep your eyes open to the vacancies that is being published by all these companies, so you can have easy entry into the corporate world. And another favorable factor is there, the sectors which you guys will be most interested. I hope one of the sectors, at least a few sectors are mentioned there, which is most attractive one and which you guys will be looking forward to join. I hope so, like banking, IT industry, online businesses, all those categories. You guys will be really fascinated towards that. I hope so. I believe so. So you have a chance, guys. Let me tell you, you have a chance, and the opportunities, ample amount of opportunities are there. And what you have to do, one simple thing: be prepared to meet the fight, be prepared to meet the competition, face the competition. That's it. That's what required from your side. Enhance your skill and make sure that you fall into the 20% category, those who have proper acceptance from the corporate world. As simple as that. And finally, one more thing. I think we have 10 minutes left. I will make it very quick. I have one more thing which I want to point out, you guys. This is a very simple exercise. You can please participate. You can please join with me, right? I have some boxes with me. The number you mentioned, I will remove that. You have to identify the personality, and I will tell you what is the purpose behind including this exercise. Okay? You just mention the number of boxes which you want me to remove. Dear students, you please mention the number of boxes which you want me to remove.
3, sir.
The 3, very good suggestion. Asif. Now, can you recognize the person? Another box which you want to remove. Let me suggest the
2,
second
sir.
one. Yeah, perfect. Second one. Now, can you please confirm the name of this person? If you want me to remove the entire boxes, let me do it. Now you recognize the person. Can you please recognize the name of this person? Guys, am I audible? Can you please confirm?
Ritesh Agarwal, sir.
Ritesh Agarwal, perfect response. Perfect response. And why I want to point out this guy?
So,
Man, yeah, exactly. Perfect response, Asif. Thank you very much for your response. Okay. Thank you very much for your response. Ritesh Agarwal. Why I want to include this man into the discussion? Very simple. A man who traveled at the age of 17 across India who visited and stayed in hundreds of hotels to understand whether his idea was a brilliant one or not. And at the end of his journey, he realized that there is a need of budget hotels. There is a need of budget hotels where we can have comfortable stay, where we can have proper restaurants, where we can have proper facilities. He realized that need, and what is the result of that? Now he's one among the billionaires and one among the top, otherwise world's best startups we can consider Oyo's. Okay, and what is the connection between this guy and you guys? There is a small, otherwise there is a small point regarding that. For example, now you may have certain excuses in your mindset, like I'm just 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And this is not the time for me to do work. Otherwise, this is my time for doing work. It's not yet. It's not yet started. That is what the impression you guys have. I hope so, because I had a similar kind of impression when I was in your stage. My time, it was not started. That is what the thinking when I had. When I was in your age, like 18, 19, 20. But you guys, you just compare this guy. What happened at the age of 17? At the age of 17, he traveled across India to make sure that his idea was a brilliant one, otherwise a successful one. To make sure that, to substantiate that idea, he started putting efforts. So age doesn't matter. Okay, your age is not a limiting factor for you guys. Whether you are 20, 21, 22, doesn't matter. Act proper, act proper. Start working on your ideas, start working on your dreams. And 100% you will be a recognized one in corporate sector, otherwise in your field, if you are working towards your dreams. Okay, and the age you just forget, go on, work on your dreams. You will reach your destinations, you will reach your dreams, you will reach your goals, no doubt about it. That's what finally I want to point out. And let me just once again try to remind you guys about the framework which we have gone through. One, the introduction about the corporate. I have given you certain phases and certain companies, logos, everything I have just displayed. And at the same time, what is this corporate world is all about, I have mentioned, and why you need to be prepared, that we have just came across. At the same time, we have mentioned what the employers really look at. And finally, we have mentioned a very brief, otherwise a very brief idea to be, otherwise the strategies to prepare yourself, the strategies to prepare yourself ready to enter into the corporate world. That is what the framework today we had. And I think now we have just 5 minutes time left. As per the communication, just 5 minutes left. So I just want to give you 5 minutes for your doubt clarification. If you have any kind of doubts regarding the session or regarding the corporate sector, especially I was into placements and training, teaching, all these things I used to manage parallelly, simultaneously. So I can help you guys in doubt clarifications regarding placements also. You can ask me right now. Feel free to talk, interact, because I was a student in your institute previously. Because I have completed my PhD from your institute. It was the research center for me for doing my PhD. And now I remember, I just express my sincere gratitude to your teachers like Anpadagan sir, at the same time Balaji sir, all the experts, those who supported me to complete my PhD, especially your research center, your management, everybody. I would love to come again there. I would really love to talk to you guys, maybe in offline mode, maybe in nearby future if it's possible. If you have any doubts, you can please ask me right now. Any doubts related to your placement? Any doubts related to your placements, otherwise corporate field, or even the talk which we have gone through, the examples which we have gone through? If you have any kind of contradictions, you can raise that right now. Contradictions, otherwise the clarifications required, you can ask me right now, okay? Any doubts? Any doubts? No doubts, right? So we are completely clear about it. We can have two conclusions from the same. One is you guys understood everything. Second thing, you guys have no clarity regarding any of the things which I have discussed. Two conclusions can be there. And I prefer to have the first one. You guys understood everything, right? Because at least I can make myself happy, right? Guys, any doubts? Okay, fine. Almost few minutes we have. If you are interested to interact with me, you can talk to me, you can clarify your doubts, anything related to your placement. I have already mentioned that I was part of the corporate world for the last 10 years plus time. Especially, I was not into academics completely. I was handling all these things simultaneously, as I mentioned. Okay. Are you guys staying safe at home? Your offline classes are not started yet, right?
I think weekly 2 classes they are having offline classes.
Weekly 2 classes, right?
Yes.
Sounds really good. Sounds really, yeah. Actually, we are waiting, especially our students are waiting to get offline mode classes.
Okay.
In between, they visit the colleges and they are trying to convince us, let's start the offline classes. But the government order is awaited. Most probably by the first week of next month, probably we will have the offline classes here. Right. So I think we can wind up if they don't have any doubts.
Yes. Do you have any queries, students Hasib or Aravind? Anybody has any questions, queries regarding your job, or as sir told, like in corporate, how to get into corporate? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Okay, sir. So I think it was an interesting session. Like it went very well, not a purely theoretical one. So sir has used many pictorial representations, which would attract obviously students, and many exercises they have done. And he has insisted on the top 10 skills needed to get into corporate. And first, what is a corporate? So I think it would be an eye opener for the students. So because they wouldn't have known what is corporate till now. So just we would have known what is corporate and what are the skill sets they are expecting. And in India skills reports, that Tamil Nadu is getting better and they are producing more employable talent to get into corporates. So these are positive things which we can take from the speech of Dr. Jins George. So now official vote of thanks by Mohammed Hasib from first year BBA. Hasib, can. Hasib.
So I'm audible.
Yeah, yes, now. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mohammed Asif Basrari from first year BBA. It's my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to express our gratitude to Sourashtra College Management, Principal, Professor N.H. Saravanan Sir, beloved Head of the Department, Dr. M.S. Balaji Sir, and other staff members of the department for taking great efforts and organizing this national webinar. On behalf of our management, I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Jins George, for sparing his valuable time and gracing this event. Your thoughts have been motivated all of us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hasib. And you guys will be finding your Google Forms in your chat box. Please fill that Google form for getting your attendance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Sir, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.